Hi students, in this video I will explain about taxonomy, categories, then taxonomical aids or tools. So taxonomy is the branch of biology that deals with the framing of laws and principles of classifying the organisms on the basis of their evolutionary relationships. So modern taxonomists consider identification, classification and nomenclature as the processes that are basic to taxonomy. What is taxon? It's a general term for grouping in a systematic classification of organism. That is, a group of similar genetically related individuals having certain characters distinct from those of other groups. Here, all the insects, honeybee, then butterfly, these are all comes under one group, that is insect group. So all the insects comes under one taxon. Like that, all the fishes comes under another taxon. All grasses comes under another taxon. Okay. The next is category. So in classification, the organisms that closely resemble one another are placed in a group. The groups which have similarities are combined together into larger groups, and again these larger groups into still more larger groups. Such various grouping levels are called categories. So there are 7 major categories, namely kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. This is called as the hierarchical system of classification. Carolus Linnaeus introduced this hierarchical system of classification. We will see in each categories. Species. Species is the basic unit of classification and it is the lowest taxonomical category. A species may have subgroups called subspecies or varieties and showing different features of their own. Next is genus. It's a group of related species which has more characters. A group of related species which are having more characters in common when compared to the species. They are included under one genus. So sometimes certain peculiar characteristics will be there in the species. Because of that only it can be included in one particular genus. So that type of characters are known as correlated characters. That is, the common features the species have to qualify for inclusion in a genus are called correlated characters. For example, a dog, wolf, jackal, all are having some similarities. Their similarities is non-retractile clause. They have, because of that, they have been assigned in a common genus, namely Canis. So if you write the scientific name of a dog, Canis familiaris. Then for jackal, Canis aureus. For wolf, it is Canis lupus. It's because they are all having non-retractile clause, so that they are included under the genus Canis. Next is family. Group of related genera with less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. Again, example, Felis of cats. Genus Felis of cats and the genus Panthera of lion, tiger and all placed in the same family Felidae. Here also the characteristic similarities are retractile clause. So when they are attacking a prey or fighting and all, the clause will be out. Otherwise it will be hidden. Because of that they are included under the family Felidae. Next is order. Group of related families. The family Felidae of cats and the family Canidae of dogs, the above mentioned families are assigned to the order, same order, that is Carnivore, because they have canine teeth and all are carnivores also. Next is class. Then group of related orders. If you are taking the rats, rabbits, cat, dog, all having hair and milk glands, mammary glands, are called placed in the class Mammalia. Next is phylum or division. Group of related animal classes. So here related classes are included under phylum. If it is animals, it is phylum, and if we are considering plants, it will be division. So related animal classes phylum and related plant classes division. Last one is kingdom. It is the highest category in biological classification. So it's a group of phyla or group of division which have certain common characters. So animalia, which are not having a rigid cell wall. So the organisms or the living beings which are not having a rigid cell wall, they are categorized under kingdom animalia. And all the organisms which are having rigid cell wall, they are grouped under plantae, kingdom plantae, like that. Next is utility of systematics. So utility of systematics can be discussed under two headings. One is academic facility and another one is identification service. So in academic facility, so knowledge of systematics helps in the study of all branches of basic and applied biology. Useful information about evolution, adaptations, and diversity of organisms can be obtained from the academic facility. Then identification of service. It enables us to identify the organism of special interest so that these may be propagated or eliminated. So identification of useful plants and animals is necessary for raising the crops. In the case of plants, if they are having commercial value and all, it has to be propagated more, and for improving their yield also. The next one is biological keys, a set of alternate characters that help in the identification of plants and animals by selecting and eliminating the characters according to their presence or absence in the organism under study. So which organism we are considering, which organism is under the study, that has to be observed based on the biological keys. For example, if we are considering organisms which are having soft body but no shell, it can be platyhelminthes, and organisms with a soft body with shell, that is mollusca, like that. So these are the biological keys. Next is taxonomical aids or tools. So for the identification of species and their placement in taxonomical hierarchy, both laboratory and field studies are important. So here the information gathered about the species are stored. So they are the taxonomical aids. Example: botanical gardens, then herbaria and zoological parks, zoological museum. These are all considered as the taxonomical aids. Next is, what is biological garden? So biological garden is a place where plants from various groups are grown for scientific study, conservation, public education, aesthetics and recreation. So if we are discussing about the role of a botanical garden, in this point itself we will get all the answers. So it is having aesthetic and recreation value. It will provide material for botanical research. It is useful for self-education. It has an important role in the conservation of endangered plant species and genetic diversity. Then it provides facility taxonomic research at a single place. Then public services, it helps in the general public in identifying the native and exotic plant species, demonstrate methods of propagating the plants, then supply plants and their products through sale or exchange. Another important role is ecological role, that is to improve the environment, provide pleasant greenery in big cities, then purify the air, and it serves as a habitat for many animals. Then employment, it provides jobs to large number of workers. So these are the role of a botanical garden. Next is a herbaria. It is a collection of pressed, dried and preserved plants mounted on paper sheets, properly labeled and systematically arranged and available for reference or study. So this can be preserved for so many years. So all the details about the plant or the specimen will be available in that herbarium sheet. Next is zoological parks, public organizations for promoting interest, love and knowledge for wild animals in people. It is an enclosed building or place where live animals are kept for public exhibition. So animals are exhibited in a variety or in a different ways. Important data of each animal is displayed on a small board. If you visit the places and all, we can make out what are the which group of animals are placed, or what is the native, where is the native, all that we can obtain from that. Then zoological museum, a building used for the preservation, storage and exhibition of inanimate objects which illustrate the human or natural history. So while learning zoological park and museum, we are familiar with these words. So what are the differences between these two? So in zoo, specimens exhibited are alive and active, but in museum, exhibited are lifeless and inactive. In a zoo, animals are displayed mostly in the open or some in the buildings, but here in museum, objects are displayed mostly in the buildings. Only whole animals are on show in the case of zoo, but whole stuffed animals as well as animal parts like skeleton, feathers and some products like eggs, nest, these are all on the shows. But in zoo, fossils are not exhibited. In museum, fossils are also exhibited. Okay, so these are the differences between zoo and museum. Now I will show you some national park and the endangered species. So here this is Zarangati National Park. It's almost one of the world's great wildlife spectacle, Serengeti National Park. Then Galapagos Island, that is unique island. It's a home for a unique collection of animals and plants. Next is this is an endangered species. We have to save this species. This is a golden lion tamarin, is found in only one region in the world, that is Atlantic coastal rainforest of Brazil. It's about the size of a squirrel. There have been successful efforts around the world to give the golden lion tamarin a much safer future. Okay, then next is bowhead whale. It lives close to the spreading polar ice. It's the only whale that lives its entire life in the Arctic region. The retreating or advancing ice determines their seasonal migration. Another one is mountain gorilla, found in the volcanic Virunga Mountains at the Volcano National Park in Rwanda, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this last one is African carnivore. It has slipped away unnoticed almost to the point of extinction, African wild dog. Okay, then last video I have given some questions, and today also I will give you some assignment. Define a taxon. Why are the species considered dynamic groups? Mention 3 aims of a zoological park. what are correlated characters, and distinguish between systematics and taxonomy. Last class, the first question was name the three fields of systematics, that is nomenclature, classification and taxonomy. What is meant by identification of a species? Its identification is aimed at finding the correct name and the proper position of a species in the established scheme of classification. Then define systematics. Systematic is the study of scientific study that attempts to recognize, describe, name and arrange the diverse organisms according to an organized plan based on the unique features of species and groups. Then write the advantages of scientific names. The scientific names are often descriptive, indicating some important characteristics of the organism, and it is practiced by biologists all over the world. Then each kind of organism is given a single scientific name, and scientific names are universal, being used all over the world irrespective of the language of the people. Then next question was, in scientific studies we do not use common names. Why? All organisms do not have common names. Moreover, the common names are not universal and may be misleading. And the last question, phylogenetic classification is the most favored classification. Why? Because it is based on the evolutionary relationship of organism, and it reflects the evolutionary changes. Thank you.